Title: My child, this is my last warning about your life. On January 11th, in broad daylight, you will be shot by. My child, come closer and listen without fear. Do not rush past these words. Do not try to understand everything at once. Let them fall gently into your heart, one by one, like light touching the earth before dawn. There is a reason you were led here. There is a reason your spirit felt a quiet pull, even before your mind could explain it. Something has been unfolding around you for a long time, unseen, unheard, yet carefully watched by heaven itself. My child, I speak softly because this message is not meant for noise. It is meant for the part of you that has survived everything you never talk about. You have walked through days when you smiled on the outside while carrying storms within. You have endured moments when you felt watched by the world but unseen by those closest to you. Heaven saw those moments. Heaven counted every tear you swallowed, every prayer you whispered when words failed you. My child, this is not a message of fear, though it may feel heavy at first. It is a message of truth. And truth often arrives quietly, wearing the face of mystery, because your soul must be ready to receive it. If heaven spoke too loudly too soon, it would overwhelm what is still healing inside you. So I come now, gently, slowly, so your heart can stay open. There have been signs around you. Small interruptions. Sudden pauses. Doors that did not open no matter how hard you pushed. You wondered why progress felt delayed, why joy came in short visits instead of staying. You questioned yourself. You questioned your worth. You wondered if you had done something wrong. My child, you did nothing wrong. Heaven was protecting you from stepping into something before you were fully prepared to survive it. You are standing at the edge of a turning point, even if your days still look ordinary. The world around you has not changed yet, but the world within you has already begun to shift. That is how heaven works. First the spirit awakens. Then reality follows. My child, there has been a quiet watching over your life. Not the watching of judgment, but the watching of care. Every step you took when you felt unsure. Every choice you made while doubting yourself. Heaven has been measuring not your success, but your endurance. Not your speed, but your faithfulness to keep going even when hope felt thin. You have been tested in ways you never expected. Tested through silence. Tested through waiting. Tested through people who promised much but delivered little. Tested through losses that changed you forever. Each test was not meant to break you. It was meant to reveal who you truly are beneath the pain. My child, I must speak carefully now. What I am about to say has been held back until this moment because timing matters in heaven. There are things that cannot be undone once they are known. And you are finally ready. This is my last warning about your life, not because danger is coming to destroy you, but because transformation is coming to change you completely. Warnings from heaven do not always mean harm. Often they mean preparation. A gentle shaking before a great awakening. A final pause before a powerful release. You have lived long enough carrying burdens that were never meant to be permanent. You have paid debts that were not yours to pay. You have stood strong for others while neglecting your own healing. Heaven has watched patiently, waiting for the moment when your heart could hold what is about to be given without fear, without guilt, without running away from it. My child, January 6th has been marked not by humans, not by calendars, but by light. In broad daylight, when nothing seems hidden, heaven's light will touch your life in a way you cannot ignore. This will not come with thunder or chaos. It will come with clarity. With a sudden knowing. With a shift so deep that even your breath will feel different. On that day, something inside you will awaken fully. You will see with new eyes. You will understand why certain people left, why some stayed only to wound you, why delays protected you, why silence taught you strength. What once confused you will suddenly make sense, not painfully, but peacefully. My child, heaven's light does not strike to punish. It strikes to reveal. It reveals truth, direction, and worth. It removes the fog that kept you doubting your own path. After this moment, you will no longer chase what does not choose you. You will no longer beg for love that comes with conditions. You will no longer shrink yourself to fit places you have outgrown. Things will never be the same after this, and that is not a loss. That is a blessing. The old version of you carried fear like a shield. The new version of you will carry light like a compass. You will still feel emotions. You will still feel deeply. But you will no longer be lost inside them. My child, fortune is not only money, though provision will come. Fortune is alignment. Fortune is peace that does not depend on approval. Fortune is waking up without heaviness in your chest. Fortune is knowing your life has meaning even when others do not understand. My child, heaven has watched your path, not through judgment, but through deep compassion. Every step you took through shadowed valleys, every tear you wiped quietly when no one saw, every time you chose forgiveness instead of fury, none of it has gone unnoticed. You have been walking through a sacred refining, one that burned away illusions but never touched your essence. The storms were not meant to destroy you. They were meant to make your heart unshakable. In the silence after your suffering, heaven took note of the way you still chose kindness, how you turned pain into patience and disappointment into prayer. That strength, quiet and steadfast, has been counted as your offering. You will receive the fortune you deserve, not because you demanded it or forced your way through life, but because your endurance did not become bitterness. You stood in seasons where others gave up. You believed in the goodness of life even when goodness seemed delayed. You loved when it would have been easier to close your heart. That, my child, is why heaven honors you. You are being watched not for what you could perform, but for what you could preserve, your love, your humility, your willingness to keep shining even when no one applauded. Now the tide shifts. Opportunities will begin to appear where there were once walls. People, situations, and chances that were once closed to you will start to open, quietly at first, like morning light through a veil. Help will rise from places you never thought to look. The ones who doubted you will begin to notice your calm, the steadiness that comes not from knowing everything, but from trusting the unseen. They will sense that something divine walks with you. Your presence will bring a peace that others cannot explain. You will no longer speak to prove your worth. Your silence will carry weight. This transformation is not about becoming someone else. It is about finally becoming who you were always meant to be. You are not finding a new identity, you are remembering an ancient one, the one buried beneath expectations and fears. As you stand in that truth, the world will adjust around you. Some will call it a glow, others will feel it as calm, but you will know, it is the evidence of having met yourself in the presence of heaven. Still, my child, when the light comes closer, it can feel strange. There will be moments when you no longer recognize your own reflection, when the peace inside you feels almost unfamiliar. Do not fear this strangeness. Growth always feels like displacement before it feels like home. You are not losing yourself, you are shedding the costumes required by pain. You are meeting yourself for the first time without chains, without the need to explain your worth to those who never saw it. Some people will not understand this version of you. They may feel uneasy around your clarity because your peace exposes their unrest. Some will try to draw you back into the roles that once made them comfortable, the one who stayed quiet, who always gave, who dimmed just enough to be acceptable. Let them go gently. Do not resent them, they are only meeting a version of you they no longer have access to. You are not responsible for their comfort. You are responsible for your truth. That is sacred work. Heaven has not forgotten your sacrifices. It remembers the nights you cried in silence, the prayers you whispered in exhaustion, the moments you wanted to give up but didn't. Every time you chose to love without being loved in return, every time you stayed patient in a season of waiting, every time you forgave without closure, it was all recorded in the folds of eternity. Not one act of quiet faith was wasted. Your perseverance was building something you could not yet see. Like roots deep underground, it was preparing to break forth into bloom. The fruit will appear soon. My child, the light coming toward you does not ask for perfection. It asks for honesty. Heaven cannot dwell in pretense. Speak truthfully to yourself about what hurts and about what you desire. Admit what you feel without guilt. When you are honest with heaven, heaven aligns with you. The divine cannot heal what you hide, but it will magnify every truth you reveal in love. After January 6th, you will begin to feel a new rhythm, as if the air itself begins to move differently around you. Your intuition will sharpen. You will sense right from wrong with greater precision, almost as if your inner compass has been newly polished. The things that once confused you will start to make sense in their divine order. You will feel guided instead of uncertain, led instead of lost. That guidance is not random, it is heaven walking alongside you in quiet partnership. Trust it. Do not argue with your own soul. Let peace be your confirmation. Do not rush what unfolds next. Miracles begin in stillness before they bloom in visibility. Not every blessing is meant to be announced prematurely. Protect what is forming within you. Some revelations grow best in silence. Your transformation is sacred ground. Not all eyes can understand what sacredness looks like when it is still incomplete. Keep certain dreams close to your chest, and speak of them only when they are ready to walk in the world. Remember, seeds sprout in darkness before they ever touch sunlight. My child, rest when tired. Do not measure your worth by your productivity. You have carried more than most could bear, yet you kept your faith intact. Now, life is asking you to balance strength with softness. Celebrate the quiet victories. The mornings you wake with peace, the nights you sleep without heavy thoughts, the moments you smile for no reason. Speak kindly to yourself, your words are seeds. Let them root in encouragement, not self-criticism. The path ahead may be bright, but light also asks for gentleness. Strength does not mean hardness, it means harmony. Remember this eternal truth: you were never overlooked, never late, never forgotten. Life was not denying you. It was preparing you. The closed doors taught discernment. The delays shaped wisdom. The betrayals thinned out your circle until only loyalty remained. Nothing was wasted, every disappointment was aligned to redirect you toward clarity. Heaven has been scripting your redemptive arc all along. When the light touches you fully, pause. Breathe. Let gratitude rise without forcing it. You will not need to make yourself thankful. Your soul will respond naturally, for it will recognize that the seasons of darkness were never punishment, they were preparation. You will feel the weight of survival lift, replaced by the grace of purpose. You will finally understand that even what was taken away was part of what brought you home to yourself. My child, this message is both a promise and a warning. As you enter this new season, fear will loosen its grip. But with freedom comes responsibility. To remain humble, to stay honest, to continue choosing love. You are stepping into an era where provision flows more easily, where peace becomes your default, where love no longer feels like labor. But even blessings need boundaries. Guard your soul's equilibrium. Do not let the noise of others distract you from the voice within. People will begin to seek your advice, your presence, your calm. They will sense something divine but call it by different names: wisdom, peace, intuition. Do not correct them, let your energy speak for itself. You are becoming a vessel of living truth, reminder that faith still works when everything else fails. As your light expands, stay anchored in empathy. Do not let recognition undo your reverence. There will be days, even in the midst of blessing, when you feel empty again. That does not mean you've fallen backward. It simply means new containers are being formed for greater grace to fill. In these moments, rest deeper, pray softer, trust longer. Heaven is not withdrawing, it is recalibrating your energy so you can hold more. Do not chase validation anymore. Release that old, exhausting pursuit. The need to be seen, affirmed, and applauded by those who cannot, or will not, truly perceive your worth has kept you tethered far too long. Let it go gently, like a leaf releasing its branch in autumn. Those who fail to recognize the light within you are not equipped to shape the course of your destiny. Their opinion, however loud or persistent, carries no authority over the path heaven has laid out for you. True recognition flows from a far higher place. The quiet approval of the divine, the steady gaze of heaven that never wavers, outweighs every chorus of human applause, every fleeting like, every conditional praise. When that celestial nod settles upon your spirit, no earthly rejection can unsettle you again. When others misjudge your silence, when they interpret your restraint as weakness, indifference, or defeat, do not rush to explain or defend yourself. Bless them quietly in your heart, perhaps with a simple prayer for their peace, and keep walking forward. Your silence is not emptiness, it is space being made for something sacred. In realms far beyond the reach of gossip, rumor, and small-minded chatter, promotion is already taking place. Invisible hands are shifting your position, elevating you in ways that no conversation, no social media thread, no whispered rumor could ever touch. Trust that elevation. It arrives without fanfare precisely because it needs no witness except the one who ordained it. This season you are entering is a sacred classroom in detachment. You will learn, slowly and sometimes painfully, how to release people, expectations, and outcomes without allowing bitterness to take root in the soil of your heart. Bitterness is a slow poison, it clouds vision, hardens arteries of compassion, and blocks the flow of future blessings. Instead, you are being taught that real peace is not the absence of people who hurt you, disappoint you, or walk away. Peace is the steady, unshakable presence of purpose. When purpose fills the room, empty chairs lose their power to wound. Anyone destined to journey alongside you in this new chapter will find their way to your side without force, without manipulation, without endless negotiation. The alignment will feel effortless, almost startling in its simplicity. And those who resist, who pull in the opposite direction, will drift away naturally, like boats carried by different currents. Do not chase them. Do not beg them to stay. Allow the separation. Heaven is not dismantling your life, heaven is building you for destiny, and sometimes construction requires clearing the site. You will begin to recognize the divine hand orchestrating each new phase with breathtaking precision. Conversations you once longed for will unfold at the perfect moment, sometimes years after you stopped waiting. Opportunities will arrive just as you were about to lay down your search, just as surrender became complete. Finances that once felt like a mountain of impossibility will reconcile themselves, not through frantic striving, but through quiet, almost mysterious provision. Connections that seemed permanently severed will reknit in ways you could never engineer. Resources will appear exactly when the need is greatest. At first it may feel supernatural because, beloved, it is. You are stepping into alignment, crossing the threshold where striving gives way to flow. What once demanded clenched fists and gritted teeth will now arrive on wings of grace. You will catch yourself breathing easier, laughing more freely, sleeping more deeply, because the war is over. The battle to be enough has ended. One day soon, you will stand before the very situations that once triggered your deepest doubts, the conversations that left you reeling, the memories that still stung, the failures that whispered you were unworthy. You will notice something profound has shifted. The people may be the same. The circumstances may look unchanged on the surface. But you are different. Fear's grip, once so tight it stole your breath, will find no purchase. Worry will knock at the door of your mind, but the entrance will remain locked. You have learned to decide from wisdom instead of dread, from peace instead of panic. Each choice rooted in faith sends out ripples of clarity that touch everything and everyone connected to you. Your home, your work, your relationships, even strangers you have yet to meet. You become a conduit of calm in a noisy world. In the midst of all this transformation, my child, hold fast to gentleness. The world has taught us to mistake harshness for strength, to wear sharpness as armor, to respond to injury with retaliation. But heaven teaches a different way, softness as power. True resilience is not found in resistance or retaliation. It lives in the choice to remain kind even after deep wounding. Kindness is the native language of heaven. It disarms chaos without raising its voice. It heals what anger only deepens. It opens doors that force could never unlock. Continue to speak this language, even when your throat feels raw. Continue to radiate warmth, even in spaces that feel bitterly cold. Your gentleness is not weakness, it is evidence that you have survived the fire without letting the fire change your essence. As the year continues to unfold, divine timing will become not just a concept but a visible, living reality. People who once left in haste or confusion will reappear, carrying apologies you no longer need to hear in order to be free. Situations that seemed locked in permanent conflict will resolve quietly, without confrontation or dramatic showdown. You will feel the deep relief of knowing that justice belongs to heaven, not to your anger, not to your need to be proven right. Let go of the compulsion to present your side of the story one more time. Release the urge to win the argument. The truth is already cultivating its own harvest, slow and sure, in fields you cannot yet see. Every tear was sacred. Every tear you have ever shed carried meaning. Not one of them fell without purpose. What felt like weakness was actually release. What felt like breaking was really softening. Those tears did not disappear into nothingness, they sank deep into the soil of your becoming. They watered parts of you that had gone dry from trying to survive without rest, from hoping without reassurance, from loving without safety. You cried because you cared. You cried because your heart stayed open when it would have been easier to close. You cried because something inside you refused to become numb. That alone speaks of a rare courage. And now, from those very places where you thought only pain lived, new life is breaking through. Beauty is rising where shame once whispered lies. Strength is growing where failure once tried to define you. Nothing that touched your heart so deeply was ever meaningless. The dark was not empty. There were nights when the silence felt louder than any noise. Moments when your prayers felt like they hit the ceiling and fell back unanswered. Times when you held on to promises with trembling hands, sometimes barely believing, sometimes only hoping that hope itself would not abandon you. But the dark was never empty. It was working quietly. It was shaping you in ways light never could. You were learning endurance without bitterness. You were learning patience without resignation. You were learning how to stay tender without becoming fragile. These lessons do not come quickly, and they never come comfortably. They require time. They require stillness. They require trust that forms even when reassurance is absent. The waiting was not punishment. It was preparation. Delays were not denials. What felt like delay was not heaven withholding, it was heaven protecting. There were blessings you once wanted that would have crushed you had they arrived too early. There were doors you begged to open that would have led you away from yourself. There were connections you mourned that would have cost you your peace. You were being prepared to sustain what was meant for you. Not just receive it, but carry it without losing yourself. Hold it without fear. Enjoy it without anxiety. Now you are different. You have roots. You have discernment. You have learned how to stand without constant validation. You no longer chase what sparkles, you recognize what is real. This is why things are beginning to move. Nothing about this journey was wasted, not the heartbreak that took your breath away. Not the seasons when no one called. Not the moments you questioned your worth because others could not see it. Every detour refined your vision. Every disappointment sharpened your awareness. Every loss taught you what truly matters. You learned the difference between attention and love. Between noise and truth. Between attachment and alignment. You are emerging as something rare, soft, yet strong, gentle, yet grounded, open, yet discerning. You no longer react from wounds. You respond from wisdom. You are not who you were before the storm that earlier version of you tried so hard. Carried tension in the shoulders. Held breath without realizing it. Loved with fear humming beneath the surface. You were sincere, but you were exhausted. Now, you move differently. You walk slower, not from heaviness, but from peace. You speak softer, not from fear, but from clarity. You listen more deeply, because you trust yourself now. Your nervous system has learned safety. Your heart has learned boundaries without walls. Your soul has remembered its own rhythm. This is not regression. This is return. Heaven rejoices over your becoming. There is quiet joy surrounding you now. Not the loud kind that demands attention, but the steady kind that stays. You are rediscovering a calm that was always meant to be yours. A serenity that storms could shake, but never steal. You are remembering who you were before survival became your full-time job. And there is celebration in that. Not because you performed perfectly, but because you kept coming back to love. Back to trust. Back to softness. Even when everything tempted you to harden. You no longer have to fight for what is yours from this moment forward. Allow life to meet you halfway. You are done striving for what is already aligned. What belongs to you will recognize you. What is meant for you will open without force. What is not aligned will fall away without regret. Doors will open, not by effort, not by proving, not by exhaustion, but by grace. The light surrounding you now is not coincidence. It is guidance. It is protection. It is confirmation. Pause when you feel it. Breathe when it settles in your chest. That gentle peace is telling the truth. You were never alone, even in the nights when you felt abandoned. Even in the seasons when you doubted everything. Even when silence made you question your faith. You were accompanied. Seen in your confusion. Held in your grief. Known in your private battles. Presence does not always announce itself. Sometimes it simply stays, quiet, steady, unwavering. Until you are ready to feel it again. You are feeling it now. A future built on purpose, not fear. What lies ahead is not driven by anxiety. It is shaped by intention. Provision will find you, often before you name the need. Support will arrive without you begging for it. Opportunities will meet you where you are, not where you pretend to be. Love will come, not as a reward for perfection, but as a reflection of the love you have finally allowed yourself to receive. Peace will grow slowly, like a strong tree. Its roots will deepen with every season. Its presence will steady you even when winds rise. You are becoming more yourself each day. Each morning, you awaken a little less guarded. A little more open. A little more radiant. You no longer shrink to be accepted. You no longer abandon yourself to keep connection. You no longer confuse intensity with intimacy. You are learning that ease is not laziness. That rest is not failure. That joy does not need permission. This is maturity of the soul. This is your confirmation you endured with a grace that went unseen. You survived things that could have hardened you, and you chose tenderness instead. That choice carries authority. Not loud authority. Quiet authority. The kind that does not demand recognition. You are honored, not for flawlessness, but for faithfulness. For returning. Again and again. To love. The journey continues, but in light, yes, the path goes on. But now it unfolds differently. With trust instead of terror. With rest instead of relentless striving. With clarity instead of confusion. You are no longer walking through shadows alone. You are walking in light, with awareness, with grounding, with peace. Welcome home, to yourself. To serenity. To the fullness of what you were always meant to be. You are safe. You are seen. You are deeply, endlessly loved. And the best of what is coming is already on its way.